Hello, this is your boy Chris, your average guy from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and this is another car talk where I just talk about random things that are on my mind while sitting in my car parked somewhere. Today, it's Walmart. Anyway, I wanted to ask anybody out there their opinion, want their thoughts on what would be considered the good old days. On Facebook and Instagram, I follow certain pages, that are like, remembering the 80s, remembering the 90s, music of the 60s, 70s, that sort of thing. And I noticed that in the comments section, it's almost as if we're all cutting and pasting each other's comments, right? Because they're almost exactly the same, like word for word, verbatim. And a lot of people say that, life was better back then. Particularly people in my age group, we have this fondness for the 80s. And even the 90s, even the early 2000s, I mean, if I'm being honest. And, everybody was like, we miss Blockbuster, we miss Hollywood Video. They definitely miss how cheap things were back in the day. I saw an old advertisement for the McDonald's menu back when I was a teenager, and like all the extra value meals were like $2.99, $3.99. I mean, just unbelievably cheap compared to what they are now. And I was just curious how you guys felt about that. For me, it just seems like everything that was great, that I had growing up, is now gone, is slowly disappearing, or is just completely gone. For me, the loss of like all the big box toy stores like Toys R Us and KB Toys, that sucked for me. I'm a toy collector. I enjoy collecting toys. It's something I've done all my life. I've always enjoyed comics and action figures and, cartoons, that sort of thing, like so many other people. And, I remember when the last Toys R Us in my area closed, and I was like, Jesus, man, that really, really sucks. It was just after Christmas. By that summer, it was gone, And I was like the last of the big box toy stores. I miss arcades, even though, the gaming consoles we have now are phenomenal. And I know that they, pretty much make arcades obsolete, just like streaming services or like, Netflix back in the day where, you could actually have a DVD or a Blu-ray mailed to you, which last I knew, they still do that. But, even though the current game consoles make arcades obsolete, I miss arcades. There's a bar in the town where I live called Play Arcade, and it's just the coolest freaking bar in the world because it's a fully functional bar that has a kitchen. They have a great menu with great food, and the whole bar is a huge arcade. So you can go there, order a burger, fries, have a couple of drinks, and play Donkey Kong if you want on real, actual arcade machines where you have to, insert tokens. And I just think it's the coolest thing ever, and the place is doing phenomenal because people love it, and I'm glad for them. I hope they stay in business for the next 100 years. And to me, that it shows a fondness for the decades of, the arcades, for example. And, for some, like, older people in my age group or whatever, it's like, oh, we remember growing up with arcades. For younger people, there were no arcades when they were coming up, so now they see this thing and they get to experience it. It's like, oh, yeah, my dad told me about these or whatever. So I think it's great. One thing for sure, people miss the movies of the 80s, especially. It's bothering me that physical media is disappearing. Everything's going digital. I don't agree with that. If you're a person who likes digital and wants to go digital, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Me personally, I like physical media. If I like a movie or TV series enough, I want to buy it. I want to own it. I don't want it on a server digitally in the cloud, because to me that's not real ownership, because at any given time those servers can crash, that information can be deleted. The company has the right to put up whatever version of the movie they want. For example, Star Wars. If you're like myself, I'm a purist. I prefer the original trilogy as it was first filmed, not the special editions. Well, like Disney, for example, might only offer up the special edition. It might be the only version you can get, which I don't agree with. And people are already starting to feel the burn with digital media. I believe it was Funimation recently was closed down. That service is no longer available, and there are people who are pissed because they had movies digitally that they had, bought Funimation, and now it's gone. And they can't get them back. And naturally, they're aggravated. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the way of compensation, but my point is, if they had the actual Blu-rays or DVDs or even the old VHS tapes, they wouldn't have this issue. So, those are some of the things that I miss about back in the day. I think technology is great. I have no issue with technology, but we are more dependent on technology now than we ever were before. For some people, they don't know any better. Anybody born within the last 20 years really has no clue what it was like to grow up with a rotary phone or a push-button phone, or the days when you had to memorize all your phone numbers, write them down. They don't know what it's like to live in a world without smartphones and on demand and all that other stuff. So again, I'm just curious as to what everybody's opinion is. How do you feel? Me, I'm going to be 48. People my age or older, I mean, I pretty much think I know how you feel. Like I said, from the comment section, everybody is pretty much saying the same thing. They miss the good old days. But whether you're my age, younger, older, I'm curious. What do you think? What is something you miss that you would like to see come back? Me, another thing I miss is the variety we had, or that I had growing up, when it came to shopping. Everything now is a Target and a Walmart. There are currently 50 Targets and counting in the state where I live alone, and 50 Walmarts and counting in the state where I live. And everything is just a Walmart and a Target. There's no more variety. All the stores have closed. Kmart, Zayres, Cherry and Webb, Lechmere, FYE, Caldors, Service Merchandise, just to name a few. To me, that's it's crappy, because variety is the spice of life. And here in America, we're supposed to have the greatest economy going, with capitalism and everything. I can go and pick from 20 different bagel flavors. I can go to Ben and Jerry's and pick from 31 ice cream flavors. But when it comes to shopping, I'm stuck to pretty much Walmart and Target. Or everything's online, which online shopping is cool, but to me it should be an addition to, and not replace actual shopping. I'm one of those people who, I get bored, I want to get dressed and go out and actually go to a store and walk around and window shop and buy stuff. That's just me. And yes, sometimes I don't feel like leaving the house, and if I want to shop, I click, click, click on my phone or on my computer, and okay, I get it in the mail a few days later. That's all well and good too. But anyway, I guess that's that. I'm gonna wrap this up, and yeah, just let me know what you think. Curious to hear from you guys. All right, bye.